So if you are in the diaspora, and I mean African diaspora, and you are thinking of, or it's crossed your mind that you want to return back home or to your home country, I want you to pay particular attention to this video because I've walked that journey, and you're going to find a lot of value in what I'm about to say. All right, so let's get started. So, as I said, if you are in the diaspora, whether you are in Europe or the North America or Asia or anywhere, sometimes a time comes when you become unfulfilled in what you do. Sometimes it can be a temporary feeling. Other times it could be a long stretch that, yes, you're doing very well, but you can find that there's something missing. You're always following news back home more than those who actually living back home. That is a telltale sign. But I want to walk you through a journey on how to process that thought. So you're on that kind of thought path, but you do not know whether it's kind of a mirage or is a real thing. So most people would now start putting plans in place to move back. And the purpose of this video is not to rehash, hey, you need to have your own house or to have a set of cars to be able to move. That is almost sounding like a cliche now that everybody says it. So, to just restate that, what I'm about to say goes beyond getting prepared financially to move back. It goes beyond that. But let's start with the basics. So definitely, a lot of people are going to tell you, yes, you need a place that you can stay, whether it's your own or it belongs to your relative or your parents, that you don't have to pay rent. That will be a great place to start. That definitely is. Obviously, you can't move back and not have your means of transportation for yourself and then for your spouse, if you are married. And if you are bringing your kids, then you also have to think about resources to be able to take them to some of the best schooling because they are used to excellence in education. You can't just bring them and throw them in the public school system. It's not that the public school system is not good. It's good. That's what has produced all of us. But your kids have tasted a level of affluence and excellence in the education that may not necessarily be available in your home country. So you need to up it. So to do that, taking them to a very good private school is very expensive. So and I've lived that. I've been here about 8 years or so, sometimes in and out, but roughly about 8 years, getting to I think 9 years. So I can confidently talk to that educating kids should be a part of the play if your kids are pre-college level and you want to bring them. So I think those are the basic house cleaning that needs to be done. Yes, I know people who've returned and they didn't have a house, they didn't have a vehicle, they didn't have children. And they survived and they did well, but it's kind of more difficult. It's tough that way. It sucks energy out of your thinking process in terms of trying to resettle. It sucks a lot of energy from you. So to make sure that you have that clarity of thought, you can at least relax a little bit. There's no stress. Those pillars, if you have them, they are fantastic and they will be great. All right. So with that said, but this is what I've noticed. A lot of people, I've been having a lot of people send me notices or talk to me or wanting to talk to me, find out how I've been able to survive all these years in Ghana. So I spent a great deal of time in Europe. I think Europe and US combined was more than 15 years. I would say, let's say 16, 17 years in total, spending that time between UK and then the United States. Then at a point in time, I decided to come back home to run a business. And whatever the thing that brought me down here, I had to pivot several times to get things going. So the journey has been fun, but has been brutal. See, brutal it's brutal is not even the harshest sense. It's been brutal, but also it's been fun because you notice a lot of opportunities to do good, a lot of opportunity to build great things. Right. So with that said, this is my basic understanding. What most people do not do when they want to relocate back home, except, of course, you are, let's say, a student who has just finished your study, whether in Europe or in the US, possibly Australia, and after study, you've not been able to find work and your work visa is running out. Then your options are, few, very, very few. The only option really is to get back to your home country. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who have spent probably decades. They've established themselves. They are high net worth, middle to upper middle class professionals in whatever they do in the diaspora. And nobody's chasing you. You probably even have two passports, one from your home country and one from the country that you are living in, whether it's UK or Germany or US, wherever it is. You probably have multiple passports. You are the kind of person I'm talking about. So what most people neglect when they want to relocate back home at some point, sometimes it's due to retirement. You just want to come home, you're retired. One of the things that I see missing in all the advice that is given, apart from get a house, get cars and the material things, is the mental thing, the mental advice. I don't see people put that out there. For you to get back to your home country, it starts with a lot of fun. Then when you come, in my case, when I came, it was like, it's like I was sitting on top of the world because I was used to all these big, grandiose things. So even in this case, Ghana wasn't a big enough market for what I wanted to do. It's like everything I was looking at it from a very massive standpoint, right? And so you end up needing to push a little bit harder to try to get these kind of big, grandiose ideas off the ground. Now, what you're going to find is that at every point in the way, there is going to be some kind of resistance. Sometimes cultural, sometimes even family, right? Because you've been away for a long time. You don't know how things are done over here, right? So there's going to be so much resistance and sometimes setback that you have to have a mindset that is resilient. You can have, actually, let me put it this way. You can have 10 houses here, right? You can have a fleet of cars. You can have all the money in the world. But if you don't have this mentality of resilience to the point that, it's almost like, in evangelical terms, it's almost like it's a calling. You have to feel that you are called to do something. Are you interested in connecting with expert professionals from the diaspora community? We've built something special, a platform called Find Diaspora Experts. This platform helps you connect with top-tier African diaspora experts to get advice over a video call. The use cases for such a platform are many, but let's just run through a few. The first one is this could be used as an expert resource for corporate training. It could also be used as a resource for keynote speaking engagements, also for executive coaching, for special consulting services, and then last but not the least, as a pool of expert talent for recruitment. So if you are interested in being the first to know when we onboard new experts or when we launch new expert-led cohort-based courses or training programs, then click the link in the description below to join our early access list. Thanks, and let's jump right back into the video. See you there. Over here. Else, you will pack your bag and leave. You pack your bag and leave, because I've seen a lot of people who took the same journey like myself. They came excited, I'm coming to do great. I'm coming to do good things for my country. I'm coming to do this, that. 2 years after that, they packed their bag and ran back to the US. It's so common, actually. So, and I think most people are not prepared mentally for that. And the mental preparation, to me, supersedes everything. It has to be that there's this kind of burning desire, that opposition from people, opposition from maybe people in government or authority or business licensing and all those kind of things, opposition from or frustration. Frustration is the right word. Frustration from let's say staff who may steal from you and all those things. It's nothing compared to something, what is inside of you. What is inside of you should be so powerful, so strong, so unbendable that nothing will push you aside. The moment you come to that point, then I think you are the right candidate to relocate. Sometimes you won't get that feeling, this kind of powerful feeling, or this kind of emotional strength until you physically move. Sometimes it's a journey, so one thing leads to another. And as you are going through the motions, it toughens you up. As you're going through the motions, you begin to see things that are crazy, that you want to do something about. And the more you stay, the more frustrated you become, the more entrenched you are in it. And this only happens when you are called to do it. So I believe before you take that plunge, yes, you would have to come visit a few times, maybe a couple of times a year, to understand the terrain, to understand the people. Yes, you do. You were born here, you grew up here, probably went to school here, but it's probably been 10, 20 years since you actually came here. So the cultural dynamics, the economic dynamics, all of them, and the social dynamics have changed. So you're going to acclimatize yourself with that. And as you are acclimatizing yourself, that there's going to be brute force opposition. I'm just don't want to sugarcoat it. You're going to face all kinds. And the worst one is the frustration. The opposition, you have dealt with racism at the workplace and those things. So the opposition is not a real thing, but it's the frustration, the red tape that you go through every day, then you get knocked over and then you pick yourself back again. It has to get to a point that you feel called, that you are actually, God meant for you to be here. God meant for you to be in your home country solving a particular need or solving a particular problem. You were placed on earth for that purpose. If you were able to hit that point, that threshold, or that milestone, then you are in for a great surprise, because that is when things begin to unravel positively for you. But if you come with that mindset that, I have this, I've built that, I have that, so I'm fine, that is not enough. And I can see the reason why like 80-90% of people come back and they are not able to stay. I think, to me, in my opinion, it's singularly to do with this point, that people are not mentally and emotionally prepared, especially when the arrows begin to fly in, and they will fly in their droves. Because sometimes the mere fact that you spend a decade or two in the diaspora alone is good reason enough for somebody to just dislike you. You've not done anything, right? But it takes, if you have a heart for what you're doing, then you have space to accommodate that. Because sometimes people do that not for anything. They start on that trajectory for not liking you, and then later on they turn around to be your greatest advocates. So you have to have that calling and that heart, that when you're going through the trenches and there's nowhere to turn, and you still have the option to run back to America, or you still have the option to run back to Europe or Germany, wherever it is, or to Australia, you still have the option, but you decide that there's a bigger call, there's a bigger, I would say, unction, or there's a bigger pull that drives you towards solving that problem. That is what is going to make you successful, because that is what I've seen being the difference between those who stay and those who pick their bags and leave. And the I think the painful part of also going back is, yes, sometimes you have to go back. Sometimes medical reasons or other reasons, I think you're free to make any decision on that part. But I'm only speaking with people who really are burnout in their diasporan countries, in the US. You're burnout. You think that the time has come for you to come home. I think that is not enough. So as you begin to work towards coming back, also begin to program in your mind, what are some problems or challenges that I'm really passionate about locally or back home that I can latch my heart onto, that can really become the pool when problems begin to surmount, because the problems, whether you like it or not, they will come. The frustration, whether you like it or not, they will come. But the good thing is that those who are able to push through that and sail through that phase, there's unlimited opportunities, unlimited potentials. It's just like gold. The gold is buried, in mud. Here, yes, the gold is buried in mud. You have to dig and dig and dig and dig. And those who are able to dig beyond a certain threshold, that is where they find the gold. All right. Thank you. I hope this blessed you, and I look forward to seeing you in my other videos. Thank you. Bye.